Welcome back to the channel. I'm Gabe the Animator. This is Pro Tips when building a rig part 10. In this video, I'm going to show you how to rig the mouth. So let's get started. I'm going to go and find this drawing here, which is the lips. And what I need to do is I need to create an area where I'm going to be building the mouth. So I'm going to go full screen into the node view here. And I already had set up a mouth backdrop. I do have the nose in here. I'm just going to move the nose over. This is the skin mask, so I'm going to put that over here. And here are the lips. So the lips are going to go over here. And what I need now is a composite, so Control H. And I'm going to need 3 nodes here. One for the upper teeth, one for the lower teeth, and one for the tongue. So Control R. That's going to be the upper teeth. And I'm going to click just add here. So it's going to add it, but it's going to keep this menu open here. So we can see the upper teeth. The next one will be the lower teeth. So it keeps the same name. We can just change this part of it. Click add. It's on top of, it's in the behind this one now. So they're both on top of each other here. And the next thing I'm going to need is the tongue. This way, and add and close. So you can see they're all here. The tongue's going to go in the back and the upper teeth in the front. So I kind of like it like this. Alright, so I'm going to plug these in here. They all need their own pegs, so Control Shift P like Paul. And going to plug that into the mouth and nose. You know what? I think I'm going to have another peg here, and this peg will control everything that's going on inside the mouth here. So I'm going to call that interior mouth master. Now, if you're building a rig for yourself, you might do without naming things. It's always better to name it, just because it's easier when you're navigating inside the node view, right, to be able to tell what's what. But some people, they don't name things, they just go for it. But I mean, if you're working in a professional studio setting, you would absolutely need to name everything, because otherwise it's hard for the animators to get around here. So I'm going to have another one here, and this one is going to be the mouth master. So I'm going to actually plug the lips into that. And this, I'm going to call this the mouth master. Close that. And the mouth master is going to go into the mouth and nose, right? And so what that means is, let's go back into this view here. So I'll be able to parent up and grab the lips here. If I parent up again, I'll grab everything that's inside the mouth plus the lips. And then if I parent up again, it will grab the nose, right? And you're going up the hierarchy this way. So yeah, these are all fresh pegs here. So because they're fresh pegs, we need to set the rotation point for it. Now we can just grab that tool here, zoom out. It's always in the center of the screen. So, and that's going to be the mouth master. So I'm going to put the mouth master here in the same spot so I can do this kind of thing here. And the mouth interior is just going to be in the center of the mouth here for each one of these things, at least for now. Whoops. Let's do that. Click on each one. Bring that over. If you're new to the channel, I'm building this Flash character from scratch. So you can go back and look at my previous videos. Also leave a like if you are finding this useful. So here are my lips. Now whenever I'm working on the drawings, I always click these 2 things here. This is the light table and the current drawing on top. So here I'm on the lips. What I'm going to need now is a drawing of the mouth that's opened. So I'm going to go into the drawing substitutions here. I do have a little smile there. I find that it's, however, it feels like it's not in the right spot. It's a little bit off to the side there. So what I'm going to do is to be able to use my onion skin, like if I click on my onion skin, I can't see the previous drawing. So I'm just going to go one over and maybe solidify that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go back to that. And now I can see the previous drawing underneath, so I can move this in the right spot here. And then I'll switch back and forth to see if it's kind of in the same spot there. Switch back and forth. It looks okay. So yeah, to be able to use the onion skin, you need some room on the timeline here. All right. So now I'm going to draw. I'm going to need a drawing of the mouth that's opened. So you can either click on create an empty drawing, or you can click on duplicate drawing and then work off of that one. That's what I like to do. So I'm going to duplicate this drawing. You're going to see a third drawing show up here. There it is. This one should be called 2, but it's like 1-1 and this one's 2. So if you want to rename certain things, you can click on the drawing and press Control D or Control R. No, what is it? Rename drawing is what it's called. So let's go take a look here. I forget. Windows, drawings, rename drawing. It's Control D. So Control D. Or I think my mouse has to be over here. Control D. Yeah, your mouse has to be over the camera. So I'm going to rename this one 3, and I'm going to rename this one 2, just cuz. And you can also rename them like mouth opened or whatever. So yeah, here is my mouth, and I do need one that's opened. So I don't know. Actually, I think I'm going to use the onion skin for this one. Let's go over here to 1, and then let's go over here to 3. And then I'm going to actually delete that, and then you just use the onion skin here. Onion skin is a little pale. I can turn it up here a little bit. You can turn up your onion skin opacity or light, or mess with the light table shading here, which helps. Okay, so I need an open mouth. I'm going to go in my tool properties here and just going to check what's the line weight on that, 1.6. So I like to draw using the tools here, and I'm going to make that a 2 or a 1.6. Let's try that. Okay. So yeah, I like to draw with these tools, and I'll show you why. Because you can just add anchor points by by pressing Control and using the white arrow here, hitting the line, and it adds a control point. Then we can get rid of the other two, and then we can hold Alt and just curve the line like so. We can also hold Shift and curve the line like so. Now when you move when you open your mouth, the corner of your mouth spreads out a little bit, and it goes up some, and this goes down some. So I can zoom out here, and that doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little bit bigger. I'm using Shift and the arrow keys here, so that, you know, if I need, like if you move it like that, and then you move this one like this, it might not be the same amount of increments. That's why if I'm moving things, I like to box select the vertice and hold Shift and use the arrow keys up or down. So it keeps things relatively, you know, in the same spot. So there's my mouth. There is another line here that's in the previous drawing that is like the bottom lip. So here I can use my pencil tool, hold Shift, and or I could actually go in here, grab it, Control C for copy, come back in here, Control V for paste, and it pastes it in the same spot, and then I can just move it down here a little bit and maybe curve it a little bit more or grab the anchor points. So now when I toggle between the two, looks a little better. So that's the open mouth that we're going to be working with for now, and you want to make sure that the line art is in the line art section. And now we're going to color the inside of his mouth. I don't believe he has a inside mouth color, so we're going to have to create one. We can start with like the closest thing to it, which would probably be his red costume. So I can click on the plus here to add a color pot. Comes right over here. It's the same color, but I'm going to rename it interior mouth, like so. We can paint it, but the inside of your mouth is not really that red. Let's go in here and make it a little bit not too red. We need it to be a little dark because it's, there's not a lot of light that goes into your mouth. But I don't want this color to be the exact same color as his costume. Like it just looks like there's a hole here and we're seeing his neck kind of thing. So I'm going to try to find a better color. This is going to be a little tricky here. Maybe like a darker color like that. That's not too bad. Okay, so this is, we did that in the lips area. So the lips includes the interior of the mouth. Now, as for the teeth here, I'm going to be drawing in those drawing nodes, and I want to be able to see them. So I'm just going to plug this in front for now. The upper teeth, what I like to do is just draw the upper teeth like so. There is a white here, and there's one for the eye white, but because we don't want to confuse the different whites, because sometimes you will want to change colors, and if you change the color of the eyes, it'll also change the color of his teeth. So I'm just going to make another pot here. I'm going to call it teeth. Sometimes you'll need to change the colors of your character depending if it's like night or day, or if they're in another dimension or whatever. And we can also color the lines, right? So instead of having a black line for the teeth, we could maybe have a gray line so that it's not too teeth lines. So I'm just going to click on that and then click on this. Whoops, just a line. There we go. And I'm actually going to copy that. I'm going to leave it as a square. You'll see why. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into my lower teeth and I'm going to paste it. So it's actually the same drawing here, and I'm just going to lower it using the arrow keys and shift here. So there are my teeth, and I'm going to be using the mouth as the cutter. So we're not quite there yet. I just need to draw the tongue. So I'm going into the tongue here. And for the tongue, we just need a little something there. Maybe like that. We don't see much of the tongue. And the tongue is going to be kind of the same color as the interior of the mouth. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to start with that. Make another color pot here, and I'm going to name that tongue. You can also rename it right here. And I'm going to make the tongue is a little bit closer to us than the back of the throat. So I'm going to use the same color here, but I'm just going to go up diagonally here, and you can tell the color difference right here. So up diagonally within the same color works really, really well to do lots of different things here. So this is going to be the tongue here. So it looks like that, and it is just behind there. Okay. So now that they are all combined into this group, I'm going to put a cutter here, and I'm going to use the color art of the interior of the mouth as the cutter. So let's go and grab our cutter right here. and I'm going to plug that into this little dot here. You can just hold Alt and drag this over the wire. And as for the lips, I need to separate the lips into the line art and color art. So I need the line art, so I'm just going to type in line art here, line art, and another one, the other one will be color art. Color art right here. And the line art needs to be on top. So this goes in here, this goes in here. Now I've separated this into two different lines. My teeth business here, that's going to go over here. The nose is on top of all this mouth business. I'm going to use the color art as the cutter, and the line art needs to be on top. Now I'm going to do this again from the camera view, so you can see what happens here. Just going to let this turn. Okay, I'm going to save this just in case there's a crash. Okay, so it's not working, so I'm going to switch the wires around. And I want to make sure that in this, you see, the reason why it's not working, and a lot of people, this is going to happen to you for sure, I haven't separated the color art into the color art layer. That's why it's not working. So I'm going to click on the color art, cut it out, paste it in the color art layer, and voila. When I come back here, it looks like that. That's not exactly what I want, so I'm going to double click on the mask here to invert it. That's still not what I want, so I'm going to change the wires around. That's still not what I want. It's almost there, so I'm going to double click on the mask here, and then voila. Now the color art is being used as the cutter, or the mask, if you will. If you're using Photoshop and Illustrator and other softwares, they call it masks, but in Toon Boom we call them cutters. So the only thing that's missing, you can see that the tongue is here, right? And the teeth are there, but the only thing that's missing is the actual color. I need to see the color of the inside of the mouth. So I'm only going to pull another wire here, and if I plug it in the front, we're going to see that color in the front, but we don't want it in the front. We want it in the back. So now it looks like this. Now I have a nice rigged mouth, and I can move the teeth around like that. I can move the tongue around. Right? Looks really nice. However, there's a couple things missing. First off, I'm going to just adjust the pivot points. So I'm just going to put that over here for the upper teeth. The lower teeth, I'm going to put that over here. And the tongue, I'm going to put that right on the tongue there. You can also readjust the drawings if you want. So like, we don't really see the tongue all that much. So what I would like to do is grab the drawing of the tongue here and just bring it up a little bit, just so we can see it a little bit more. And it's there by default. That's its position here. And again, you want to make sure that you don't have any keyframes on your timeline. And if I parent up, I can grab the upper teeth here. If I parent up, I grab everything that's inside the mouth. And if I parent up, it grabs the lips. So now I can move that. And if I parent up, it's going to grab also the nose. So sometimes when he talks, you can do that kind of thing. Depending on the show that you're working on, they might just want you to move the lips. So like, your teeth don't really squash and stretch when you talk, but okay, lips and mouth master. Okay, that's pretty good. Another thing that might be useful is to add another, like, this is not really important, but like, you know, if you want to move the interior of the mouth, but like, I mean, you could hold shift. If you just wanted to move the teeth, you could hold shift and click both teeth and then move the teeth around to get what you want. So, and then if you want to move the whole thing, you can just click on the mouth master, or interior mouth master, that is. The last thing I'm going to do before the end of the video is I'm going to add deformers on the teeth, because if Flash looks up or if he looks down, his teeth will curve, right? So what we want to do is add deformers on that. And because I would like to see the teeth while I'm working on the teeth, I'm going to pull another wire from here and plug it on top. So now I'm seeing the teeth in their full, so I can work on the teeth while it's like that. So I'm just going to go to envelope creator here and just create envelope. And I just want 3 points. Now it says 3 here, but it loops back around. So there's one of the, like the first is also the last, so it loops up. So it's going to have the 4 thing there. So let's create an envelope. It doesn't look all that good. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to put a 4 there and see what happens. Click create envelope, and yeah, that's actually what I want here. So here is the deformer. Not sure I like it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it just by myself here. Click on this, come over here and tool properties, make sure you're on envelope mode, and I'll show you what I want to do here. I'm going to create an envelope, but I'm going to have these really big handles in the middle right here. No handles on the corners here, no handles, long handles in the middle, no handles here on the sides, and I'm going to hold Alt and just close that envelope and just adjust that like so. Now the difference between this envelope and the one that Harmony created for me is, I'll show you the difference here real quick. The reason why I like this is because I just have the one vertice to move if I need to curve the teeth. I need to get, yeah, one thing you don't want is you don't want these handles to go on top of each other. Like the thing with the handles is it handles this much area. So if the handle is this long, it's going to handle all of that area. And I don't want that. I just want that corner there. So you can see the long handles here. Now when I do that, it curves the teeth very easily. Now you'll notice that the paint doesn't come along for the ride, but that's not exactly true. If I render it, you'll see that the paint looks fine. I'm just going to crank up the resolution here. Go to scene settings. I'm going to put this in 4K. Click OK. Let it render, and then there you go. So now you can see that it looks good, and I only need to pull on this to curve the teeth, right? So when Harmony does it, I'll show you how Harmony does it here. Let's go to envelope creator or create envelope. So it does it really quickly, right? Like it's super fast and it looks clean. However, when you're animating, if you want to curve the teeth, you have to curve this one and these two at the bottom. So there's 4 instead of just 2. And you know, when you're animating on an actual TV show, the people who are building the rigs, they either don't know about this trick, or they don't care, or they are pressured for time, so they just use the envelope creator. And this problem happens throughout the rig. So instead of being able to move a few vertices, you're constantly moving multiple vertices all the time. And this actually takes up more time at the end of the week when you have, you know, hundreds of frames to deal with. So if you are a character rigger on a TV show, if you just take the time to do that, if it's at all possible, then great. The animators will love you, right? But if you're pressured for time, or you don't care, or you know, whatever the reason may be, I mean, it's what it is. But I can tell you that I worked on a lot of shows, and I wanted this so badly. I mean, but it's not a big deal if it's not there, because the animators can always add or change the deformers themselves, right? So like, let's say if you look at this here, let's say you're working on a show and you have this set up and you're like, my God, you know, this is really annoying. What you can do is you can duplicate the drawing, and then you can come up here and click on create new deformation chain, and it will create, what it does is it creates a cell swap with no deformers, and then you can make your own. So it won't change anything about the rig. It will just add this thing so that you can use that to your advantage. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to make my own. I'm actually going to get rid of that extra drawing here. So if you want to delete a drawing from the library, you'll have to find it on the timeline, click on it, go to drawing, and delete selected drawings. Okay. So yeah, now I'm just going to make my own here, and we'll call it a day. So please, hey, if you like this video, comment, subscribe, leave a like. Just let me know in the comments if this was useful. Say hello. You can ask me questions in the comments on how to do certain things. Upcoming videos for me will be to finish rigging this character and then creating an entire rotation and head tilts for this character. Then putting him into the pose copier, perhaps even the master controllers, and I will be animating him in a run cycle. So I'm going to show you how to do a nice run cycle. Let's unplug the second wire here so that I don't see the teeth like that. And here he is. We can curve the teeth there, and he is looking really good. And this is how you rig the inside of a mouth. Thanks for joining me. I will see you in the next one.